Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Dalton, Adult1095, which is another Transformers Age of the Primes video, and today we're taking a look at the Target exclusive 4-pack. Doesn't really have a title, it's just the Versus 4-pack of Ultra Magnus, Bumper, Horri-bull, and Nemesis Prime. So, I've talked about this many times on my streams, about how, yes, I'm disappointed in what they've done with Bumper being just pretty much a straight repaint, but it doesn't even look like an actual beetle. There's the beetle elements, but we'll get into that when we get further into the video. Of course, we got Ultra Magnus, like I said, so 16 for Ultra Magnus, 23 for Bumper, 16 for Horri-bull, and 25 for Nemesis Prime. So look at the back here. Of course, it shows each one, all their steps. You got Kreb. Not sure if that's his actual name. I can't remember if that's his actual name, but should know it by the time I get this open up and look at it. So, of course, there is the top showing all 4 of our characters, and bottom information there. You got artwork on the side, similar to what we saw on the top of the packaging. So, yep, let's get it open and check these guys out. All right, so starting our look at the Target 4-pack, we have Bumper, who is, as I said before, just a straight-up repaint of 86 Bumblebee. This time around, you know, this is his first official toy, believe it or not. And, you know, I don't mind that it's a... I've kind of warmed up to the idea that he's just a repaint of Bumblebee. Would have liked some new tooling down in the feet, but overall, the rest of the body looks close enough to a Mazda Familia that I'm fine with what they've done here. Of course, they've given him, you know, more of an actual shade of black for, you know, like the shoulders, the lower legs, even the black paint on the bumper. Would have liked if they painted the headlights silver, but you got the same black plastic there for the wheels instead of the gray. Black windows, same, just a darker or more flat, desaturated shade of red for the taillights. The weapon is painted a more gunmetal gray as opposed to silver, but you do have a really nice head sculpt there on him. Got some silver paint with the blue visor. Just overall nice looking head sculpt. So for this guy, we're going to go ahead and skip the transformation because we've looked at it before with B. I'm going to do the same thing with Nemesis Prime. I'm going to skip that, but for Horri-bull and Ultra Magnus, we will do the transformation on those because I've never looked at the, you know, the G1 Universe Prime mold before. I might try to find that while I'm at TFCon. This video should be going up right around that time. I'm going to try to have maybe 2 or 3 videos because, well, maybe we'll just stick to 2, but we'll see. So, go ahead. Articulation, ball jointed head, still same, actually a little bit more range than Bumblebee. Ball jointed shoulders, hinge elbows, get you 90. Got a wrist swivel, bicep swivel. Got a waist swivel, forward and back at the hips, all the way out. Thigh swivel, 90 at the knee. Got a high ankle tilt. So everything you need, plus weapon storage. Just plug that in back there. And I think if you really want to, you know, make this look more like Bumper, or, you know, if you're so inclined, you can take the head off this guy and probably put it on the previous 4-pack Bumblebee mold, that being the Earth Race Cliff Jumper. But we all know that that mold is obsolete at this point. So let's go ahead and get him into vehicle mode. And here we have Bumper in vehicle mode. And yeah, like I said, it's kind of a hybrid between the Volkswagen Beetle and the Mazda Familia, especially with the shape of the roof of the vehicle and the windows, and even just like the rear section here. So it's a good enough kind of G1-y cartoon, but also calling back to Bumper's original vehicle mode. I just, like, look at the shape of it, look at the original Bumper toy. This is fairly close while maintaining accuracy for both characters. So there he is, of course, next to Bumblebee. And one thing I did forget to mention is with the Studio Series, they have no backing to look like the, you know, the cartoon logos. Whereas with, you know, Bumper here being a Legacy and Generations figure, has the silver behind it to look kind of like the toy with the sticker. So might be inclined to pick up the toy style decals for this, since he was never in the cartoon. He was solely a comic and toy character. Comic introduced through, I believe, Dreamwave. And then now getting his first official toy. Because I know there's been plenty of third-party bumpers out there, but this is his very first, you know, officially licensed toy. So, yeah, I mean, he's not bad. Like I said, I've grown on him quite a bit, and just enjoy what they've done here to, you know, after doing my research and finding out. So, on to the next one. All right, next up, we have our second Autobot of the 4-pack, and that is Ultra Magnus, of course, based on the G1 toy. I believe this is loosely based on the second version. I can't remember which version had the blue mouth plate, but it is, as you can see, based on that. It does have some nice red light piping. You got the light blue visor. He does not have much paint at all. Just the silver here on the stripes, the abdomen, you know, grill section, the bumper. Of course, the striping on the shoulders that continue on from the vehicle mode. Of course, the Autobot symbol there. Some silver paint for the diesel tanks. And that's it. The rest is either molded in white or gray plastic. And, of course, you got the rubberized plastic wheels. Most of the paint budget went into these. For whatever reason, Hasbro decided, let's not make the guns into white plastic. Let's just put them on a clear plastic sprue and paint them with a buttload of white paint. The paint on these is really thick, and I can't tell if it's molded out of the... Well, actually, no, this is actually full-on transparent plastic with blue translucent paint or a blue dye on it, because the handle is fully clear. So, I'm guessing they did the same thing here with... Yeah, looks like this is full-on clear plastic and put over with a layer of like smoky brown paint. He does come with the matrix, so there's a little bit more silver paint there as well. Let's go ahead and pop that out. There we go. Yeah, so got fully translucent plastic painted over with silver and translucent blue to give him that kind of Ultra Magnus matrix that we first saw with, or one of the first times we saw with Ultra Mammoth. So you get the matrix chamber in there, painted nice, or molded nicely. And it just plugs in just like that. Close that back up. As far as weapons, you know, you can just store them as, or use them as usual. So you get both versions of the G1 Prime Blaster. I can't remember which one was the first. I want to say this one was, and then it was changed to this. Or vice versa. I don't remember. But you can dual weld those. If you want, you can store one of them back here and give him his blue Energon axe. And that looks pretty good. Head sculpt or articulation, it does have a ball jointed head. It is on a hinge. There we go. For the transformation, it's pretty expressive, especially for G1. Full 360 at the shoulder, all the way out to here. Bicep swivel, 90-degree elbows. Nothing at the wrist due to how they, you know, transform. Do have this skirt armor that moves out of the way along with these side pieces. Just be careful, those tires do like to pop off. You do get waist swivel. You do get forward and back at the hips, all the way out. Thigh swivel, 90 degrees at the knee. You do get rotation here at the foot for whatever reason, and a full ankle tilt. And as you can see, some of the joints are a little loose, like the thigh swivel is extremely loose, so I'm gonna have to tighten that up. Probably not a whole lot, just a little bit, because it is just a little too loose for my taste as far as like posing and everything. But yeah, he looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and get him into truck mode. We'll start by removing all of his accessories. Now I don't have, like I said, I don't have the G1 Universe Legacy mold, but I will go ahead and compare it with the Missing Link, which, as we all know, is just, you know, the Legacy version is just Missing Link at home. So yeah, you can see this is one tiny deluxe, and just to prove how small he is, here is the smallest of the Primes, Micronus. So, I mean, he is taller than Micronus, but Micronus does have a lot more features to him. My review of him will be coming out soon, probably in the next week, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Anyways, transformation, very simple. Although the left or the right side arm is a little scary for mine, it is like, I don't know, something's wrong with the joint to where it doesn't want to open. I'll show that off here in a second. Go ahead and open up the back, flip down the head, close up the backpack. So On the left arm here, maybe, yeah, it does come down all the way. Rotate that around, close that back up. On this copy, it's just, it does not want to hit that notch, and I'm afraid of snapping the plastic. So just kind of bring it as far as I can, rotate it to the best of my ability, get in there. There we go. We'll bring the shoulders back, bring this section back, or just bring those back with the shoulders. Tab these into the side here. Go ahead and tab the legs together. Does take a little doing. There we go. Close or bring down the feet. Tab that in. Bring this whole section back. Bring the arms forward. Make sure that all tabs in. And then these fuel tanks will just tab into the back section of the cab, just like that. And there we have our G1 Universe Ultra Magnus in his vehicle mode. And just to show off, he is compatible with the Earthrise trailer, although it does sink down a little bit. That could also just be due to the fact of this non-off upgrade lifting it up. Give me just a second. So there we go. Here we got the dead Optimus Prime trailer, and that fits a little bit better. The wheels just don't want to turn for some reason. And we also have the Studio Series trailer, which does dip down a lot further, but it is functional. And if I remember correctly, you can, let's see, plug on the G1 toy trailer, or in this case the missing link. It does bring up the rear, one of the front wheels of the trailer up a little bit, but it's still compatible, so you got that. And if you want for weapon storage, you can just plug the axe in right here and just plug in the blasters at the rear of the truck. So there is G1 Universe Ultra Magnus in truck mode. I really hope we get some sort of a Magnus trailer for this. Like, if it is able to convert for robot mode, that'd be awesome. If not, like, I would still just take the trailer. Like, I'd be happy either way. Go ahead and bring down the feet for transformation. I mean, this is basically just G1 Prime, so if you don't know this, most of this transformation, then I'm sorry. So we're just gonna breeze through this, get it back into robot mode. Again, the scary part with these arms, at least this one's not bad. It's the right arm that is problematic. There we go. And there's that. We'll open up the backpack. Of course, you can't see. There we go. And there we have Ultra Magnus back in robot mode. Give him this blaster, have him use this one back here, and give him the axe. So there we have Ultra Magnus back in robot mode. Next up we have Nemesis Prime, who, much like the other three, is just a repaint, although this one does have a new head sculpt, which was seen in a prototype, I want to say about a year ago at this point. When we first saw the listings for this set popping up, we just knew it was a basic set that had Horri-bull and Nemesis Prime. So we didn't know who else was in it until, you know, of course, some other people get their hands on it and revealed it. But anyways, very beautiful paint job here. It is, I believe, based on an actual sheet that is kind of obscure, that people haven't really seen a lot of up until this point. Using these colors, I can't remember where I found it, but someone did share it on X, like a picture of the actual character sheet, and it wasn't what we saw from the Wonderfest Black Convoy that was released in, I want to say 2010, somewhere around there. But very, very beautiful figure, and probably my favorite use of the mold so far, unless they end up doing Toxitron, which would also be amazing, or even Shattered Glass Prime. Like, I would love all the possible variants of this. Even Elite Guard Prime. I know some people find that color scheme ugly. I think it looks really cool. So take that for what you will. But Nemesis Prime himself, instead of the typical like tealish blue, it is more on the green side, which I think fits with animated. So I like how they handled that here. Of course, you got some more red paint for, you know, the lights. You got the translucent red for the windows and the eyes. Or no, the eyes are painted over. Never mind. Of course, like I said, the red paint for the windows, even the top of the fists here, top of the feet. Got some silver paint for the rims. Translucent paint for the light bar, which I guess kind of works with Nemesis Prime, although kind of wonder what DNA would do to make him not a fire truck. Maybe some sort of heavy armed military vehicle. But here we've got his battle axe, which is molded in gunmetal gray, just like his thighs and some of his other inner robot parts. And then translucent red for the blade, painted over this little section here. Still fully extends, although it's much tighter on this copy. Oh, that is scary tight. There we go. Fully extends. You can still have Nemesis Prime use it. Just gotta jam that in there. There we go. So there he is. Here he is next to Optimus, who does have some Toy Hex stickers, and my copy does have the DNA trailer, which they recently teased they're doing another set for Animated Optimus. I don't know if it's an add-on to the current set or if it's a whole new set. They didn't really fully reveal anything, just teased it, and it kind of looks like the Power Master fan-made design, I believe, or maybe from the Trial of Megatron. So interested to see how that turns out. But there we go. Do like the Battle Master look. I do hope we get it on an alternate version of Animated Prime, if Hasbro were to do that. So get a closer look here so you can kind of see how the battle mask looks, and I quite dig it. So very nicely done. Articulation is all the same, so ball jointed head, got swivel and hinge at the shoulders, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, wrists are on a ball joint, but they function as a swivel here. Got a waist swivel forward and back at the hips, all the way out to there. Got a thigh swivel, over 90 at the knee, and ankle tilt. So let's go ahead and get him in truck mode. So we've seen this transformation twice on this channel. I'm going to go ahead and skip it for this so we can keep this video fairly short. And of course, here is Nemesis Prime in truck mode. And much like the other two versions of this mold, he looks great. Although I think I might, again, like the others, modify this, just paint this right here black to match the, you know, kind of the Prime style animation model like I did with Optimus, just to help blend or keep the cab separated from the bumper. But there they are. So yeah, can't wait to get the Toy Hex labels and DNA upgrade. Speaking of which, here is the DNA upgrade compared to Nemesis Prime. So again, can't wait to see what DNA does to turn Nemesis Prime into something like this. So yeah, so let's go ahead, get that out of here, and we'll move on to Horri-bull. And here we have the final member of this set, and the one with the most tooling changed about him. Also, something controversial. This is not pink plastic, as you might have seen with other reviews. This is blue plastic painted over with pink, which means once you cut it off these sprues, you're going to have blue nub marks on the end and right here in the middle. Full view for robot mode. So let's go ahead and get this off of here for now. And you can see what I am talking about. There we go. So yeah. Thankfully, from what I've seen, Nana plans to do something about this. Hopefully, some more cartoon or toy accurate horns for him. Also, you know, molded in pink. But these will just attach here to the back. Now the head is separate when you get him in package. It is just on a 5mm port, so it is separate in the box. He is a retool of Skull Cruncher, although he does have shorter legs and, of course, a different weapon, but he does have the same primary, or I guess in this case, secondary blaster. But most of the parts are new. The only shared parts I can find are the bicep, the forearm, the thighs, and the knees. I think that's really it. And, of course, the back of the torso, even though the door for the Titan Master is different. So, glad there's plenty of retooling going on with this guy. And now we finally have our 3 Decepticon Headmaster Juniors. And we're supposedly getting a new Fangry within the next year, so keep an eye out for that. But there you've got a Squeeze Play Fangry and Horri-bull, or Wilder, Cancer, and Bullhorn, if I remember that correctly. Yeah. So, there we go. So, articulation in his head, of course, is on a ball joint due to it being a Titan Master. Ball jointed shoulders, 90-degree elbows, bicep swivel, nothing after the wrist due to the transformation. You do get waist swivel, forward and back at the hips, all the way out. Thigh swivel, 90 at the knee, and you do get an ankle tilt. So, some newly added stuff. Some really nice pink and, I guess, gold. Of course, a little bit of blue paint. Actually, no, I don't think that's blue paint at all. It's all plastic. Never mind. Do get some nice paint here for the little tech spec or the Spudstrint. So, medium speed, medium intelligence, high strength. So, I guess that makes sense for Horri-bull. And you got his Titan Master or Headmaster Kreb, which, I mean, looks enough like the original. So, you do have, ooh, too far, that going on. Of course, just folds over. You got some silver, gold, and red paint. Now, I don't have the original Terrible from Titan's Return anymore. I did sell that to a friend of mine, so can't really compare. So let's go ahead and get him into bowl mode. So we'll go ahead and remove these weapons, and we can just peg them together like that. Just set that aside. We'll move Kreb, fold down the head, fold the hands in, and then we'll open this section here, fold out that. There we go. Just lock these two together. It's on the dovetail, so you just kind of bring it forward and down like that. Fold over these sections here to form the torso of the bull. Bring down the arms. And rotate. I guess this can count as a wrist swivel, although it's more just for transformation. There's that. Straighten out the rear bull legs. There's that. And we'll just tab this into these tail sections, or into the plug the tail into this rear section here. There we go. So there is Horri-bull in bull mode. And we can just open up this panel here. Bring Kreb's legs up like that. Just plug them into there, close that up, and there we go. And of course, here is Horri-bull compared to his mold mate, Skull Cruncher. And yeah, quite the difference between these two now. Like I said before, the only real shared parts are this main back piece, the elbow, or the lower arms down except for the claws, and part of the thighs. That's really all that's shared between these two. Otherwise, they are completely different. And of course, here he is with Squeeze Play and Fangry. So again, we have our 3 Headmaster Juniors. Now it's time to do the Autobot Headmaster Juniors. So we still need Hosehead, Siren, and Nightbeat. Or, you know, give us the car versions as well. Give us Go Shooter, Cab, and Minerva, as well as yeah, I think that's the 3. Never mind. Yeah, so finally have these guys complete. So to get him back into robot mode, we'll remove the blasters, unfold the legs, fold these sections down, splitting the legs, rotate those up, just keep those there, rotate the forearm, flip out the fists, there we go, bring out Kreb, fold that back up, fold the bull head back, plug the Headmaster back in, and we'll give him back his blasters, although this one is his primary toy-based blaster. And there we go. So let's go ahead and get into the final thoughts on this whole set. So when it comes to my final thoughts on this 4-pack of, you know, basically like a Target / Pulse exclusive, I really think that this is one of the better sets that they've come out with for this kind of 4-pack style thing for quite a while. Like, the next best one, I think, I mean, last year's wasn't bad, but I don't think as many of them in the past couple years have hit as good as this set. Like, Nemesis Prime looks amazing. You can never really go wrong with a Nemesis Prime. Magnus, of course, looks awesome, especially using that G1 Universe mold. And Horri-bull, I mean, while he's not my favorite of the set, I mean, there's enough retooling there, just like with Squeeze Play last year. And it finally completes our Decepticon Headmaster Jr. So, very happy about that. Bumper, you know, kind of on par with Horri-bull as not the best, but again, it works for what you get. So, I don't know, take that for what you will. I really enjoy this set. I mean, especially Nemesis Prime. He's probably my favorite out of the whole thing. So, call me biased for, you know, Nemesis Prime and animated, but I mean, he's my favorite of the set. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've got this set, you know, who's your favorite of the pack, or, you know, if you were to just pick and choose from someone parting it out, which ones would you get? So, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to have this out, hopefully, you know, by the time I go to TFCon. It'll probably go up either Tuesday or Thursday, but right before the convention. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys all in the next video. So long. Take care.